Lee asks, what calibre of players does Sunderland need to sign for the Prem? And United Ultra asks, do you think Sunderland will get above Derby's 07-08 points total? First of all, I will say it is a sad indictment of where we are with promoted teams into the Premier League that we've moved, and it's not an unreasonable question from United Ultra, that we've moved from, can Sunderland, who are the team that won the playoff final, the lowest ranked team in next season's Premier League, essentially, they finished, what were they, 4th, so 24th in the pyramid. They're now in the top 20, and the question is not can Sunderland survive, but can Sunderland avoid being the worst team in Premier League history with that, whatever it is, 11 points for Derby. So first of all, and I'm not having a pop at the question, it's not an unreasonable question given we are where we are in football and the chasms. Isn't it sad that we feel we should ask that? Because when Derby broke that points record, it wasn't that Derby came up and it was mission impossible for the team that won the playoffs. Derby won the playoffs as well, didn't they, under Billy Davis? I think it was just a ridiculous... they didn't sign anybody, did they? And there was... I think I've watched a pretty good video about it on YouTube. Someone's done a deep dive there, and there was a managerial change. I think they won one game, didn't they? And then it just went south under Paul Jewell, and then they tried to sign, say, experienced players, and then the dressing room was lost, the recruitment went down, you get on the losing streak, and oh my God, it was horrible for those Derby fans. But Sunderland, I mean, look, arguably every team that gets promoted comes into the Premier League with some momentum, don't they? I know it's tricky, and we've seen teams kind of immediately stink it out, but you'd think Sunderland would have some momentum. So we'll circle back and we will talk about that a bit more. What calibre of players does Sunderland need to sign for the Premier League? I mean, I could sarcastically say good players, players that will keep them up, the best players they can possibly get. And although those answers are a bit reductive, they're all kind of true. I think we need to look at what Sunderland have done so far. And let's be honest, I didn't think it would work to get them promoted, not in the time that they've done it, where the strategy has been they've gone to the European market and they've just bought all young players, basically, haven't they? And let me just bring I think I can do it with the ages if you bring up the playoff final. Even people like Dan Neil are sort of younger than you think. Yeah, look at that. Sirkin 23, Hume 23, Riggs 17, Neil 23, Bellingham 19, Mundell 22. I mentioned the European market. Big majority of them are British. Obviously, we're then going to go on to Mayenda up top and Lefay. He's a little bit older. I mean, what an old age pensioner at 25. Obviously, Watson was in there as well. Isidor's only 24. And then you do have those people, Samed, Kjelda. They brought in loads, didn't they? Jensen Seal, is he still there? Ayachich, who went to Pompey. So you would think that Sunderland would have to do something similar, or they couldn't completely pivot to something different. We've seen different strategies. We had Burnley's kind of buy British type thing, and they did go to the EFL a fair amount, didn't they? Will that work now? Will anything work now? You've then got what I think Sunderland probably will do in respects of, can they now do what they were doing but just at a different level? So instead of signing young European players for 2 million, they can sign them for 5 million and 10 million and build up like that. But I know full well, because I support Ipswich and I've just been through this rigmarole that Sunderland are about to go through. You are going to get the people that say they don't have enough Premier League experience. And it's very, very frustrating, because you're you go up as a team that you literally can't spend as much money as the rest of the 17 because you didn't have parachute payments. And even if you did, you've got, what have Sunderland got? 3 years of PSR limit based on championship level. So the rolling 3 year to include their first year of Premier League would have 2 championship years on. So literally you're at a point where you can't spend as much money in terms of PSR. I know Sunderland have got a big stadium and it will be full and they'll do well on commercials, but that's not going to hit an impact straight away in August of 2025 when they essentially want to build a squad to keep them in the Premier League. Look, if the question is, can Sunderland ride out their current 11, it's probably not going to work. That 11 finished 4th in the Championship, and okay, they're all better players than presumably they were at the start of the season. So, yeah, I would suggest the calibre of player, Lee, that Sunderland need to sign in the Premier League is what they have been doing, European market with... is Speakman still the sporting director there? I think he is. That has been their strategy, but bring up the level. Can you go a higher calibre and build in that respect? But can Sunderland do anything in the Premier League like that? Well, I blooming well hope they can, because we're in a pitiful situation if someone, it's a great story, Sunderland, isn't it? Huge club historically, bad times under Ellis Short, pulls out the parachute money and gets out of Dodge. They end up in League One. Buffoonery ownership there in that silly Sunderland Till I Die documentary. Changes round again and, they're back in the Championship, losing the playoffs. Bad season last season. Go again with a young European squad and, winning the playoff final in the last minute as well in stoppage time. It's a hell of a story. You don't want it to then be, well, that's the end of the fun, guys. It's going to be rubbish in the Premier League now. And you will get that clanging, annoying from mainstream pundits of, oh, you see now, what promoted teams need to be able to do is they need to be able to defend. Like the promoted teams aren't trying to defend and aren't trying to stop the teams with 30 international players and who have built up squads with 100 million quid TV money over 10 and 20 years every season, some of them. Like, oh yeah, we're not trying to defend here, and we're naive by trying to use the same attacking patterns of play that we used that literally got us, in Sunderland's terms, 76 and Burnley and Leeds at 100. Sunderland proved they can defend, particularly in the playoffs with that tournament football. So, look, they'll be damned if they do and damned if they don't if they're in the bottom 3, Sunderland. So, I hope sincerely to that second question that they will be above Derby's 07-08 points total. And my God, could the world, not just the football world, have some empathy for somebody who is seemingly highly disadvantaged here, trying to do their best? Or will these imbeciles and on the very mainstream platforms just yell and shout at Sunderland if they struggle, that they're pathetic and they're useless and have no empathy for the rather difficult situation that Sunderland will be in next season?